What's up, YouTube? Man, it's your boy Ashton Jackson, and in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the NFC playoffs in this video. I know playoffs, but we're only 6 months away, really, from playoffs, and I understand that the NFL season is right around the corner because you figure at the end of the season, you got training camp. Then to start out August, you got the Hall of Fame game, which is early August. Then basically the whole month of August, you got 3 weeks of your favorite team playing playoffs. But whoever plays the Hall of Fame game, they're gonna get 4 preseason games. So basically they got the playoffs and they got the preseason covered for the first month, and then you got the season that starts September all the way on to February. So before we hop into the video, I appreciate if you guys like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content, man. So hopping in number one, we're gonna go with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm gonna have them with a record of 13-4. I think that if they figure out their quarterback situation, whether that is Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold, I think that if Brock Purdy inevitably probably wins the quarterback spot without having any major injuries, and if he can come back from the injury that he suffered in the championship game against the Niners, I think the Eagles are going to be in a bright spot to potentially win the conference. And I think what ultimately gives them the edge in winning the conference will be that Week 5 matchup they have against my Dallas Cowboys. Just because if you look at their schedule, they open out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's not a slouch. But then again, I think the Niners are a better team. But if the Steelers come out with that solid defense they have, and they force whoever is back there playing quarterback to make mistakes, I think that's going to be an early slip up by the Niners. And I know they had an early slip up to start the season last year, and they still ended up being the top 2 seed in the conference. But I think if the Niners, if they're destined to go to a Super Bowl, they just cannot start out slow. But I think they can inevitably beat the Steelers. But past that, you got the Rams, you got the Giants, you got the Cardinals. I think that's a stretch right there where they can easily come out the gates 3-1, 4-0. Then I know they got the Cowboys on a Sunday night. Then they got the Browns, you got the Vikings, then you got the Bengals. And that 4-game stretch, the Cowboys going to give you a tough matchup. So Minnesota, but I think you're better than those teams. You're better than the Browns, but I do think you lose to Joe Burrow. The next stretch of games, the 4 games you got next are the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Eagles, and you got the Seahawks. So in those 5 games, really, you play Seattle twice. So you play 2 division winners. You play 2 former playoff teams. So, or 5 technically if you want to include the Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers aren't going to look like a playoff team this year. So I think they can get wins over the Jaguars and potentially the Eagles, or they might even lose against the Eagles. That's going to be a really good game. That is an anticipated matchup ever since they had lost that championship game. You heard Deebo Samuel talking mess after the game, saying that if they had a real quarterback, they would have won. But it doesn't excuse for your defense to let them 40 points. But I think they can beat the Jaguars, they can beat the Bucks. They're going to split with Seattle, potentially maybe beat the Eagles. I don't know. But then their last 4 games are the Niners, the Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, Rams. I think in those 4 stretch of games, those last stretch of games, you're possibly going to win 3. The only game I see them losing to is Baltimore, because I think Baltimore will be potentially their second best quarterback they would have seen all season. And last year when they played top quarterbacks last year, they gave them fits. So that's how my breakdown of their schedule is going to be. But I got the Niners at 1. 2, I got my Dallas Cowboys. The reason why I got the Dallas Cowboys high, every single time that the 4 horsemen are playing for the Dallas Cowboys, like, Dak, CD, Trayvon Diggs, and Michael Parsons, and you got Mike McCarthy at head coach. Every time that Mark McCarthy had those 4 players for 10-plus games, they won 12 games in each season, so they went back-to-back 12-5 seasons. Again, you look at the Dallas Cowboys' schedule close to the Niners, to where your first 4 games are 0 or 3-1. You got the Giants to open up the season. 2, you got the Jets, who I see as a potential loss, but I think you can still beat the Jets. Week 2, the Jets are going to figure out their offense, and Aaron Rodgers is the new face in the building. The Cardinals, they're a rebuilding team. They don't have Kyler Murray. They're not going to have him until like November or December. You got the Patriots. The Patriots haven't been the Patriots of old. I'm not going to take them for a slack. even if they get DeAndre Hopkins, they got Devontae Parker. They got to steal Christian Gonzalez. Mac Jones is still pretty solid. But I'm not going to sleep on the Patriots, but I think that's definitely a team that you can beat, and you're playing them at home, you're not playing them in Foxborough. Then you got your next 4 games. You got the Niners, Chargers, Rams, Eagles. Now I know for the casuals or people who don't really mess with Dallas like that, they probably see 3 losses. They see them as the Niners, Chargers, Eagles. But knowing the Dallas Cowboys, they'll probably beat the Niners, maybe beat the Eagles, and then probably lose to like the Rams and the Chargers. That it'll be like a weird stretch like that. But like I said, I think we probably lose to the Niners because I think we're going to have to see them again. That's something about the schedules that I've said before when I broke down the schedules, that I'm going to have to see a lot of these guys again, especially if I want to go play. And my expectations of them wanting to go play in February. We're probably going to lose to the Niners, beat the Chargers, beat the Rams, and then lose to Philly at Philly. Then your next 4 stretch of games comes out to the Giants, Panthers, Commanders, and then you want to include Seattle. Again, you're playing 4 really tough teams, 4 teams that you can possibly see down the line again. But not only, I think the Giants are going to give you fits, and I think you're going to sweep the Giants. The Giants haven't been able to beat you in 7 years. You're going to beat the Panthers, beat the Commanders, and you're probably going to lose to Seattle. Then on a 10-day break, you come back, you play the Philadelphia Eagles. So after your loss, you have been sitting on a hot steaming L for about 10 days. You got to come out hot against the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're playing at your home turf. I think you beat the Eagles. Then your next 4 stretch of games are Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. And you're away for Bills and Dolphins. So you're going to be on the road. You're going to be playing in Buffalo, New York. And then you got to come all the way down south to go play the Miami Dolphins. Then you got the Lions. Then you got the Commanders. Right here, I think that you possibly lose to the Buffalo Bills. You're going to be playing at 2 o'clock game. It's going to be really cold and chilly out there in Buffalo. I think it's going to be a close game. Then you got the Dolphins. I think you beat the Dolphins. You can beat the Lions. Now, possibly seeing you losing to the Commanders, depending on what seeding is. Like I said, if there's you win and Niners lose, you win, you possibly get the division. But like I said, I don't think the Niners are going to lose to the Rams week 17. And then also, if you lose, you don't slip in the standings or anything like that. Basically similar to last year and the Niners lost and Dallas Cowboys won. They got the number 1 seed. If Philly would have lost and Dallas would have won, we would have been, top 2 seed because we've been had won the division, things of that nature. So if it comes down to it and Dallas Cowboys need to win, so let's say, easy predicament. If they win, they get the number 1 seed. Dallas Cowboys, I think they're going to go full throttle and beat the Commanders. But anyway, I got the Dallas Cowboys going at a record of 12-5. Detroit, I got them at 11-6. Really solid roster. Detroit's going to end up winning their division because I have them better as for sure the Packers. Minnesota's a toss-up in the air, but I think Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Plus, they have a more complete team on both sides of the ball than the Minnesota Vikings. But if the Minnesota Vikings come out hot, I think the Minnesota Vikings could possibly even make the playoffs. But not only that, win the division. But if you look at Detroit and you look at their schedule, they open up against the Chiefs on a Thursday, September 7th. Then 10 days later, they got to play the Seahawks. You got the Falcons. You got the Packers. Those are all 4 tough games. None of them are going to be slouches. But I think you're possibly going to lose the opening night against the Chiefs. You can beat the Seahawks, beat Atlanta, beat the Packers, or maybe you lose to the Chiefs, lose to Seattle. You go out 0-2, but then you got to strike back. You beat the Falcons, you beat the Packers, and be 2-2. But their next stretch of games, I think they're winnable. I think you can beat the Panthers. Game every time the Lions and Ravens play is always a wacky game. I remember when they played in 21. Justin Tucker had to beat them. Justin Tucker beat them on like a record-breaking kick with like almost 70 yards. But I think that Baltimore has a better set of weapons this time when they're playing Detroit, so I don't think it's going to be as close as last time. So I think I have the Lions losing that. Lions will beat the Raiders. They might lose to the Chargers. I got them beating the Bears. I got them beating the Packers. Beat New Orleans. Split with Chicago and lose to Chicago. Beat Denver. Beat Minnesota twice. And then lose to Dallas. So I got them at 11-6. The New Orleans Saints, I got them at 10-7. I'm not really going to break down the video, break down the schedule as much, but I think they have again, similar to Dallas and the Niners. I think they have a pathway to start out possibly the first 6 games undefeated, or possibly even have an above 500 record, being around like 5-1, 4-2. Just because I think you can beat the Titans, who don't have much offensively. Defensively, they're still shaking up at that point. Panthers division game. You got the Packers. I think you can beat the Packers with Jordan Love. I think you can beat the Bucks. That's going to be a tough game for sure. Patriots, I think you can beat. Texans with a rookie C.J. Stroud. That's going to be a good game, but I think New Orleans wins. Jaguars, I think they can lose, but I see that as a coin toss. I can see that going either way. The Colts, either way. Anthony Richardson, you got Shane Steichen for head coaching for the Colts. You got Pittman, Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, Jelani Woods. Defensively, you got Julius Brents out of Kansas State. Then you got Shaq Leonard, DeForest Buckner. So you saw some solid guys over there. They can beat the Bears, maybe lose to the Vikings, beat the Falcons, beat the Lions, beat the Panthers, lose to the Giants, beat the Rams, probably lose to the Bucks the second go-around, and maybe lose to Atlanta at the last game of the season. But New Orleans, the main thing for them, if they face any injuries due to quarterback or anything like that, I do see them around 7 losses. Philly, I think Philly, they're going to go 11-6. I think they're going to be the best wildcard team in the conference at the 5th seed, at either a record of 11-6 or 12-5. Seattle, I got them at 6. They're going to be now the question is, they are going to be competing for that division, but then if you look at the overhaul of the roster, really what they've been doing the past 2 years, and them having another great draft just this past season during the draft, it's really hard for me to be like they only got 1 game better. But I got them at either going 10-7 or 11-6. With Philly, I had them going either 11-6 or 12-5. So I think with Seattle, it's really tough for them to. It's gonna be tough for Seattle, I think, just because you got that. You get the Niners, but I still think they're going to make the playoffs regardless. I got them at the 6th seed, and then I got the New York Giants going down to the 7th seed. I know they were a 6th seed last year, but just to understand for me is that the New York Giants haven't been consistent in a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time they were consistent, because if you just look at it in recent history, the Giants, when they last had made the playoffs before the year of 2023, they hadn't made it in almost anywhere from 6 to 7 years, because the last time they had made the playoffs was the 2017 season against the Green Bay Packers, where they lost in the first round. For the Giants, it's going to be tough for them to open out the season. Plus, you also got to look about it. Also, they're not going to have Saquon Barkley probably for the entirety of the season, or until they eventually fold and they give Saquon Barkley the money he's asking for. But Saquon Barkley has been a major contributor to the offense and has been most of their offensive production points ever since he's been drafted in 2018 with the 2nd overall pick in the first round. But if they don't have, let's say they don't have Saquon for like the first 4 or 5 games, I think it's going to be very, very tough for them. I think you open up against the Cowboys, that can be a potential loss. I think you could beat the Cardinals with or without Saquon. You're going to lose to the Niners. I think you're going to lose to Seattle. I think you could beat the Dolphins. But like I said, that's even tough right there, because you have 2 stretches of games where you can't lose both games if you're the Giants, especially if you're trying to make the playoffs. Then you, after the Dolphins, you got the Bills. Then you got the Commanders, the Jets. This is October 29th, close to Halloween, almost the start of the November month. And I think by that time, I think the Jets will have things clicking and rolling at that point. Then they got the Raiders. I think they can beat the Raiders. Play Dallas again. I think you're going to lose to Dallas. I think you can beat the Commanders. That's going to be a split in my division, split within those 2. I think you can beat the Patriots. Maybe you lose to the Packers, because the Giants, they always lose a wacky game. Probably lose to New Orleans. I think you can beat the Eagles. But like I said, I think that Saints-Giants game is a toss-up. I forgot who I picked before to win, but it's a toss-up in my opinion. I think they get swept by the Eagles. And I think they can beat the LA Rams. But like I said, 10-7. What's going to happen with Saquon it is possible that Daniel Jones can step up, especially since this is the best group of weapons he's worked with ever in his career. With now you got Darren Waller, Jalen Hyatt, who has been impressing the coaches and in the off season right now, as of this time of the recording on July 2nd. Then you got Darren Waller, if I haven't already mentioned him, but you got him, Rondell Robinson, Hyatt, Hodgins, Gary, the running back they just drafted in the third round out of Oklahoma. So I think the Giants, and then defensively, they got Deontay Banks, who are really high on, Xavier McKinley, front seven of Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Fabian Monroe. Then they got Adoree Jackson. So then you look at it from that standpoint, they're solid roster building. You got Brian Daboll. I think they can come back and have a pretty solid season. But same thing, I haven't seen the Giants be consistent. So that's about it. And again, to go over the 7 teams, which that's only who make the playoffs. Niners at 1, Dallas 2, Detroit 3, New Orleans at 4, Philly at 5, Seattle at 6, and the Giants at 7. If I didn't include your any of your guys' teams, I remember I did in my top NFC teams to watch. Teams who didn't make the playoffs, and that list was Atlanta, Carolina, Chicago. I can see any of those 3 possibly getting the number 7 spot or 6 spot, depending on how things shake up in the NFL season. Thank God right now, this time of recording, no significant injuries. So yeah, that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.